Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we're talking Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 11. Got a lot to discuss in this episode. I'm going to get right into it. So I'm going to start off by saying on last week's episode, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Morgan and Ben situation because that's going to play in the fact to doing this recap. This is like the first time I had to do this. I'm going to take back a little bit of what I said last week into this new, when I talk about Morgan and Ben after hearing what happened in this episode on both sides of the story. But I'll get to them in a minute. So this episode, this is when the couples go back to their childhood areas and they write a note to their younger selves. And it was a very emotional episode. A lot of tears happened. So with Kristen and Mitch, they went to go play some softball. And they also went to go see Mitch's father's stone. And it was just a very emotional scene. We got to see Mitch really get emotional, like for the first time this season. And like all the couples, their letters were just so powerful. It was just so breathtaking. Like all of them, and just seeing where they grew up and stuff and everything. And Kristen was really supportive with that. And Kristen, when they went to go play softball. Kristen mentioned that she was very athletic and everything, and it was just a beautiful scene. And also in this is the episode when Dr. Pepper came in and talked to all the couples. And when she talked to Kristen and Mitch, Kristen is just like, she feels like she's giving a lot in this, and she feels like at times she's losing sight of herself and everything, and just wants Mitch to just reassure her that's gonna be okay, basically. So, Dr. Pepper just mentioned, don't, I don't even know, but Kristen is just feeling like, she's putting a lot into this relationship, Dr. Pepper is just trying to be a mediator in this, and I actually think that Mitch is actually growing this season from the beginning. When I watched him on After Party, he's like, from the time of his wedding, he didn't realize how uptight he was until after watching it, and he doesn't mean to be so judgmental and everything. So yeah, that's, Kristen and Mitch, they're on the right page, but I'm starting to see a little bit of Kristen just getting in her head a little bit more, and she's starting to get a little bit in her head a little bit more. She's getting frustrated a little bit, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think they're still pretty going strong. So yeah. Next I want to talk is Lindy and Miguel. So once again, we didn't see much of them. I don't know why they're not getting much airtime, but this episode, same thing. They went to go take like a dance lesson. And Lindy said, growing up in Lindy's strict religious background, she wasn't allowed to do any kind of dancing. She said her wedding was the only time that was really the first time she ever did like any kind of dancing and stuff with everything. And and she talked a little bit about her childhood, and and Miguel talked about his childhood. Miguel said when he was in school, people used to make fun of him for being Puerto Rican and stuff. And then when he was in Puerto Rico, people used to make fun of him for not knowing any Spanish. So he couldn't win either way. He had a rough time in school with the kids bullying him a lot. He talked about that, which is very, very unfortunate. It's just, he said he didn't feel white enough for at school, and then when he was in Puerto Rico, he didn't feel more Puerto Rican enough, so it was just sad hearing that. And as for Lindy, she had mentioned that, with her religious background, they weren't allowed to do much things. And Miguel said that, I'm happy that Lindy broke out of that, and it's not allowing that to control her and stuff. Dr. Pepper came in to talk to them. Dr. Pepper asked them in their session, like, have you guys said I love you to each other yet? At that point, no. At that point, no. You know, Lindy says she needs to work a little bit on how she handles certain things, like with her tone and stuff, because sometimes she can get a little bit, like, moody and aggressive at times. But then after their dance lesson, and when they talked about where they grew up from, they did finally tell each other that they love each other. So I thought that was sweet. This episode really brings out the emotional side of all 10 cast members, I think, and it was a nice moment for them. So yeah. Next I want to talk is Sasha and Nate. So Sasha and Nate, again, they had an emotional episode when they met with Dr. Pepper. Sasha mentioned, I like to move fast. And I need to know if you're all in and ready to go and stuff. And Dr. Pepper mentioned to her, you're not marrying yourself. You're not marrying yourself. And, they had some communication issues in the past that was brought up. But, they're starting to, she really feels like that Nate is really holding back with the feelings, or like communicating on how he really feels about her and stuff. Last week they confessed they loved each other, and this week they admitted to consummating their marriage. So they're finally getting to where they feel like they are in love with each other. But the thing is that Sasha needs to know right away. And Nate's taking his time, which is fair enough. But, especially in this experience where you only got 8 weeks, time is ticking. So that's where they're at. And so we've seen them in this episode. They went to Nate's old neighborhood, and they met up with Nate's father. And he was a single father, and Nate discussed how his childhood, he was, playing out. He said he had mentioned that he was playing outside, and he tried to throw a rock over a house and hit a window, and he ran and stuff. He got into little fights as kids growing up and stuff and everything. And then growing up with a single father, and the father when the father came out and just started discussing it, he got emotional. And Nate even mentioned, that's the first time I ever seen my dad get emotional. So again, when these memories are brought up, it just brings out a big emotional thing for them. So it was just, again, a really beautiful moment. It's just really intriguing where all of these people come from and their backstory, and we see why they are the way they are and stuff. I actually think that, I know that's something private between your spouses, but I think on this show, I think they all need to take a trip somewhere with each other, throughout the season, to go to each other's childhood, so everybody on the cast can see where they're from and stuff, so they can change, as the cast members, their perspective on and see why certain people are the way they are. So, that's just my opinion, but, I think that's more private for the couples and stuff. Next I want to talk is Alexis and Justin. So, these two, ever since the honeymoon, it's just been up and down. Alexis and Justin. So in this episode, Dr. Pepper met up with them, and it was revealed in this episode that, remember a few weeks ago, Justin's dog attacked Alexis's dog, and Justin had to send his dog out for training and stuff. Well, this episode, when Dr. Pepper came in to talk to him, it was revealed that the dog was being inconsistent and just not ready to come home yet. And that tore Justin up. He started crying and everything. It was just really emotional, because he felt like that's his baby, and then this one incident, and really ever since that incident, they haven't been able to fully recover from that. They bicker a lot. They get into they started the episode, the clip from last week, after they were arguing at the restaurant. They went outside to talk to each other and kiss and made up. But big deal. That's what they always do. They get into a big fight, then they kiss and make up, and then, something else happens again. I just don't get it. So it was revealed that Justin's dog is still not ready to come home. He's upset, and I just feel bad that their marriage is in a bundle because of that. It's just really unfortunate. But anyway, they went to go for their little childhood memories. They went to go like fly some kites and stuff. Justin mentioned like he liked flying kites and stuff. Alexis was like, "You like to fly kites? Interesting." Okay, but it is what it is. They write their letters to themselves and everything. Justin had mentioned, like being spanked as a kid and stuff, like like and like growing up with his brother and stuff, like Alexis had asked him, like do you think that helped you? And he said, yeah. She said, why? And he's like, it's like more like he was really wishy-washy around it. I could just tell you, when you're a kid and you get spanked, that's the thing you fear the most as a kid, is your parent coming home and beating the crap out of you and stuff. That's basically what it is. So when I do these recaps, I don't remember exactly word for word. I could take some scenes like I do, I don't these episodes are 2 hours long, so I'm not going to remember word from word, so I'll just throw in what they're intended to say in my view, and still make it come out truthful as to what it really is. So I'm not exaggerating, but Justin said, it's basically a form of respect. Like he, same thing. He had a rough upbringing, but he learned how to respect everybody and stuff. So yeah, again, another emotional scene with the two of them, but I'm just glad there was less fighting in this episode with them. Now I want to discuss this Morgan and Ben situation. All right, so last week, for the month anniversary, Morgan was irritated at Ben because he keeps going to Justin about her problems and lying about it or whatever. Last week I had said that I see Morgan's side, and I see both sides. I feel bad how she's treating Ben, but at the same time, Ben shouldn't be doing what he's been doing. I still stand by that, but I'm going to pump the brakes on that just a little bit. I personally feel like Morgan is personally just trying to find ways out. Morgan is trying to find a way to make Ben out to be a complete bad person when he's unattended. And I think Nate said that on After Party as well. And that's what I feel too. And this Nate feels the same way. Morgan is screaming at him, yelling at him all the time. Nothing Ben can do is right in Morgan's eyes. And Justin had mentioned that she's not really ready for marriage. She's just looking for somebody to tag along with while she does her thing. Now, this episode, when the episode started, all the girls got together and Morgan told her side of the story, and all the boys got together and Ben told his side of the story. So then all the girls decided to go over to the other apartment to meet up with the boys, and they had a big discussion about the Morgan Ben situation. And Miguel was basically the mediator of this. He was like, okay, he asked Ben, are you going behind Morgan's back to Justin, and telling her things? And Ben actually did admit that he has been doing it and has lied about it, so not condoning Ben's behavior with that. Ben should not be doing that. He should not be lying. He should be honest when it comes to that. He's just a little starstruck. That's not condoning his behavior, but he shouldn't be doing that. But Morgan is not being completely honest, with her job thing, or she's treating Ben a certain type of way, and Ben's overreacting and not thinking about what he's doing when he does things, So I just think that Morgan, I'm not saying she's like Alyssa from last season, but she's really not fine. She's not really neither one of them, both of them had bad communication problems. Like, her whole storyline is her walls are up. Ben's storyline is like he don't know like how to react and stuff, and they're not communicating well. And they're both scared that every time they have a discussion, it's going to turn into something they didn't say, and it's going to go back to somebody else. Now, in last night's scene, they talked to Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper told them to start doing what they've been doing, just like write a letter to yourself and about where you came from and where you're at and stuff. So it came down when Morgan and Ben did their letters. Ben was sitting on the couch alone, and Morgan came into the apartment, and Ben read his letter to himself, which was great. It was very emotional and stuff. And after that, you know what Morgan did? Morgan was just like, she didn't even say that was sweet or wow or that was amazing or anything. She was just like, okay, I'm not comfortable sharing my letter with you right now because I'm just afraid that it's going to turn into something that's going to be used against me and taken to somebody else. So, and then she walked away. And when she did that, first things first, Ben didn't say nothing. His face was just like, wow, he just got up and went to the other room. But my heart, when I watched that last night, my heart just sunk when she did that. I understand that they're mad and they're separated too. They're like living in different places. They're separated because the situation got bad. And she just doesn't feel like Ben has her back, but dang, but this was it's just now getting to the point where it's getting cruel to me with what Morgan is doing, I felt so bad. Like, I almost teared up when she did that. Like, I was just like, that really made me sick to my stomach when she did that. And, and Ben just went back and he's just all upset. Again, I'm not condoning what Ben has been doing. Ben did lie, and Ben should not be going to his friends. Now, it was also mentioned on After Party, Nate mentioned this on After Party. He feels like Alexis is a big part of this problem too. Because if you're pillow talking somebody about your marriage and your household, that should stay within. Alexis was being snitchy last time and telling Morgan, okay, well, Ben's over here talking to Justin and all that. You need to do this, and that, and Alexis is kind of at fault too. And Justin had mentioned me and Ben are not that close anymore because of what Alexis did. So again, Alexis should play a part in this as well. And I think if Morgan and Alexis are really good friends, she should be talking to Morgan and be like, okay, I started something that wasn't really my place. I think you need to talk to your husband and give him a fair chance or something. But she's not doing that. And now Ben and Justin are not close anymore because of that. And that's not fair. To me, that's not fair. Other people may have an opinion on that. To me, that's not fair. And it's just that whole situation between Morgan and Ben is just sad to me. And I could see why Justin cried at the beginning of the season over that, and Justin just does not feel. Justin and Nate are really team Ben. Even hearing Morgan's side of the story, they're still really team Ben on this. Like he said that Morgan really frustrates them when it comes to stuff like that. And I could see it. It's just I just wish that again, and I see Morgan's side. I really see Morgan's side on this, but how she's handling it and reacting to certain things to this, it's just you're in the heat of the moment, but I just don't think she's handling it the right way, and I'm glad an expert came. They finally talked to an expert this week because they desperately needed an expert bad. But the fact that, from last week when she threw the flowers on the ground and this week just be like, okay, I'm not going to read you my letter to myself. I was looking forward to hearing her story too, and she just wouldn't do that. So I mean, I really hope they can get it together before decision day, but it's not. They're the one couple where it's just not looking good. It's just not looking good. I really hope they can turn it around. If it comes to the decision day, I feel like Ben would say yes and Morgan would say no. But, I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll be back on Sunday to do 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I'm getting more subscribers and more viewers, so I thank you guys for viewing. Again, please keep the comment section about the show, keep it respectful and everything. And I'll be back again on Sunday, so have a great day, guys.